you have helped this team to championship in the past. You've had your big moments where you showed up and produced. And there was a time in the recent past where you felt like you should have still been a part of this team. Looking at what these guys are doing and the way Manu Ginobili is playing right now, what kind of thoughts enter your mind?
Well, I always say everything happens for a reason. But to see him playing well now and to see him healthy, that's my brother. I'm happy for him. I wish him all the success. I think it'll be great for him to get MVP of the series. Tony has one. Tim has one. I think it'd be great for Manu to get MVP of the series.
If they win.
If they win.
Oh, God.
So, Mr. Smith and I have gone back and forth for almost 2 hours now about this. I got to ask you the same question.
Okay.
If LeBron James had stayed on the floor, managed to stay on the floor the rest of that game, the last 4 minutes, would the Heat have won that basketball game?
You have to say yes because he's the best player on the planet. So you
Really?
have to give him the benefit of the doubt. This is the same guy that everybody was praising for being in the finals 4 years in a row. It's the same guy. So you got to give him that. You got to give him that. You got to give him that credit. I mean,
Did you put him up to this?
No, no. Steven Jackson is a realist. By the way, he has a beautiful first name. And, and you got to take, the man is honest, and he's just giving you facts.
I mean, yeah, I love the Spurs. That's my guys. But LeBron is the best player on the planet, and with him on the game, you have to give the Heat a chance.
That situation, that's all. Just talk about one game. Last night, the way that game was going, there's no way Miami would have lost that game if LeBron was healthy enough to be.
So, as a primary LeBron defender in your time with the Spurs, how did you think they were able to defend him before he left with cramps?
Nobody guards LeBron better than the Spurs because you have multiple guys, but they're the best defensive team in the league for the last 5-6 years. So they play great team defense, and they know how to guard him just as well as anybody else.
How about the way the Heat were able to disrupt the Spurs for about 3.5 quarters because it was on pace it ended up 23 turnovers.
Well, that was the surprise, the turnovers and how easy Dwayne Wade was scoring. That was the surprise to me. But I feel if they continue to score like that, the Spurs going to have problems.
When you look at this team right now, the team that you picked to win these NBA Finals, is it a product simply of what you're seeing and what you've seen throughout the season on the court? Or does it have more to do with the fact that they lost last year, they came so close, and you can't imagine them losing 2 years in a row to the same team?
I'm the realist. It's both. It's really both. It's hard to see the Spurs get back to the situation and lose. They had a great season, best record in the league, so you got to give them that. I mean, I think there's no way they can come back. They've been dying for this moment. They're going to win it. I just don't see them losing.
You got the Spurs in 6, 7?
I ain't going to say 6 or 7, but the Spurs will be raising the trophy at the end of the series.
How great a job has Coach Popovich done this year, in your view?
You shouldn't be surprised. I mean, how long has he been doing it? He's been doing it for so long. I mean, like with the core guys he has with Tim, Ginobili, and Tony, and the way he's built this team since he's been here, it's not a surprise. You expect that from him. You expect them to be one of the best teams. You expect them to have Class A guys. And you expect Coach Popovich to be one of the best coaches. That's just what you expect these days from him.
What's so special about him compared to some of the other great coaches in the game you've seen?
I think his communication and his respect for players' opinions. He's definitely the coach. He coaches the team, but at the same time, he gives guys the proper rest. He's just a player's coach, and I think it shows, why those guys give so much for him.
You spent a lot of time around Tim Duncan. If your pick is correct, and they do win this championship, what advice would you give Tim about stopping now, retiring now?
I wouldn't give him none because Tim loves basketball. He eats, sleeps, dreams basketball. That's all. The season's over. He's one of the best players to ever play. And 2 weeks after the season's over, he's working on his game. So you can't really. He's going to play. I think Tim's going to play till his heart just not in the game, and that's hard to see.
2-3 more years.
At least.
At least.
At least.
Good news for you.
If there is a chance for Miami to win this series, how do they have to pull it off?
Stop the open shots. You can't let Danny Green get hot. You can't let Marco Bellinelli come down and run off 3 or 4. You got to stop the threes. Make them score over you. Make Tim score over you. And just play solid defense. No wide open shots. That's the only way to beat the Spurs.
So where does the series go from here? You're not sure how it's going to play out, but what do you think about Game 2?
I think Game 2, LeBron's going to be the player he's been his whole career. I think he does good when people talk about him and try to bash him, Like I said, it's amazing. People was just praising him a couple weeks ago, four times in the finals. So, but I think he's going to come out and have a great game, just like he did the deciding game against Indiana.
Although I'm looking at it upside down, because it seems like the Spurs today are getting a little slighted, because everybody's saying, including you, well, if LeBron had played, he would have won. So that's a little disrespectful to the effort that it took for the Spurs to snap out of their funk late in that game.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I'm not going to say they would have won, but having LeBron in the game, he gives them a legitimate chance to win the game. I wouldn't say you wouldn't have won, because LeBron has lost to the Spurs before. So, but with him in the game, you have a great chance, and everybody has to agree with that.
I think Chris Bosh is a big X factor in this series simply because of his ability to hit perimeter shots. He's got to do that in order for Miami to have a chance. Of course, Dwayne Wade needs to do what he's capable of doing as well to match whatever Manu's going to give San Antonio. But I think Chris Bosh is going to be a key. Your assessment of that?
Feed him a little gunpowder. He need to come out with a little attitude, a little fire, a little emotion. This is the finals. You shouldn't be too laid back. This is the finals. This is what you play for all year. Show a little emotion. Eat some gunpowder. Be ready to play. Go to war.
So sum this up for us, because we see this Spurs team, low ego, share the ball, all for one. You fit in that scheme, but sometimes you didn't fit, because you are very much, as we're seeing right now, your own man. You are much more outspoken than any of your Spurs teammates were. How did you fit into that scheme for as long as you did?
Pop let me be me somewhat.
He did.
He had Tim, he had Mike Brown, he had guys to pull me back in, Dave, Kevin Willis, and those guys. But I think for the most part, I wanted to be a part. I wanted to be a part of a great organization.